Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us again for our English News Edition. I'm Daniel Cook, your host, bringing you a translated version of today's Albanian news stories, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. In today's news, the President of the European Parliament, Mr. Martin Schulz, addressed the Albanian Parliament, expressing his concern about the conflict between the political parties in the country and calling for dialogue. Mr. Schulz said, "Commissioner Hahn has expressed his concern about the political climate in the country. I share the Commissioner's concerns. I had the chance to formulate an opinion about the difficulties in the country, and I call upon the political class to act in accordance with the 13 priorities of high-level dialogue. Progress requires dialogue," Mr. Schulz said. He added that the independent institutions must play key roles in the fight against corruption and encouraging the government in this fight. He expressed appreciation for the positive results that have been achieved so far by the Albanian government and encouraged further action. He continued, "We share the same values, and together we are stronger. The European Parliament supports all those who follow the path of law and democracy, and who see reconciliation as being key to the security of the Western Balkans." The EP president said that he values the efforts of Albania for reconciliation with its neighbors, referring to the visits between Rama and Vučić. He said that it is normal for neighboring countries to have differences in opinion, but that solutions must be found through dialogue. He went on, "We solve our differences through dialogue and consensus, talking until we reach a solution. This process can often be tiring, but the fact that Albania and Serbia are getting closer demonstrates that a friendly atmosphere can be created," Mr. Schulz said. He stated that the 6 prime ministers of the Western Balkans are paving the way to a better future, both from the economic point of view and the political and human point of view. A central archive was established in Albania today to store the digital audio recordings of every court session that takes place throughout the country. The archive was inaugurated by USAID, the Ministry of Justice, and the High Council of Justice. The archive offers a high level of data security and the ability to access audio recordings remotely by authorized users, such as judicial inspectors. The audio recordings are expected to be useful in uncovering corruption, as in the case of a judge from Lushnja. The Minister of Justice expressed appreciation for the effectiveness of this method and applauded the inclusion of the opposition in the judiciary reform. The U.S. Ambassador Donald Liu declared that an all-inclusive reform is a good way to return the public trust in the justice system. He said, "The Albanian citizens need to know who the corrupted judges and prosecutors are, and which ones are honest and do their jobs. How can the citizens trust that the justice system is making a righteous decision without taking money in exchange? Through an all-inclusive reform. Experts from the USA, the EU, and the Council of Europe have all invested in this reform. The citizens must feel assured that this reform will progress," Mr. Liu declared. The ambassador said that advancements in technology are another way to bring high-level officials to justice. He continued, "Not only are we interested in seeing the citizens get responsible service from their judges, but we hope that the justice reform and the new technology will bring more violent criminals to justice, more members of organized crime, and more corrupt officials to justice." The 5-year project by USAID and the Albanian justice sector began in October of 2010, and it is intended to increase court transparency, fairness, and efficiency, as well as bolstering the anti-corruption roles of civil organizations and media, and strengthening the legal profession and legal education. A day before the visit of the Greek foreign minister, the Albanian government has lowered the expectations of the public, saying that the Greek government has not made concrete plans that will solve the problems between the countries. The Greek media had previously announced that the Greek foreign minister would travel to Albania with 7 proposals for the Albanian government. However, sources from the Albanian Foreign Ministry clarify that there has been no official announcement about this package so far. Sources say that this is an important visit for the relations between the countries. The discussions will focus on important issues such as the maritime agreement, about which the Albanian government has only one attitude, that a new agreement must be drafted. The officials of Tirana are expected to reconfirm a request for the removal of the war law and the protection of the Cham community. it is expected that the government will put a halt to any Greek attempt to intervene in Albania's internal issues. In addition, the CHAM Association has its own requests. The Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity has asked the government of Greece to apologize for the crimes committed against the CHAM people. The party feels that the CHAM issue is very important to address while the Greek foreign minister is here. The minister is expected to arrive this evening and begin his meetings tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning, starting with the Albanian foreign minister Bushati. Later, he will meet with Prime Minister Edi Rama, the Assembly Speaker Ilir Meta, and President Bujar Nishani, and the Democratic Chairman Lulzim Basha. The head of the Economic Commission, Mr. Erion Bratza, has expressed his concern that a portion of Albania's concessions have been turned into a monopoly. He is asking for a deep analysis of all the concessions that have been granted by the state. He says that officials of the state administration are benefiting from these concessions in a number of illegitimate ways and are causing financial damage to the Albanian citizens. The Minister of Economy, Arben Ahmetaj, said that the new amendments to the concession laws and public and private partnerships will ensure complete transparency in the procedures for granting concessions. He said, the method of granting concessions will be improved through these amendments, bringing the abuse to an end. The amendments to the law were adopted without any debate, likely because the opposition was absent from today's Economic Commission meeting. The opposition was represented by only one MP today. The bill on higher education was discussed in today's meeting of the Law Commission. The majority MPs expressed concern about two different areas: the intervention of the state in cases of bankruptcy and the rights of the university founders. According to the left-wing MPs, the bill does not clearly define the state intervention in cases of bankruptcy. Earlier, a group of stakeholders expressed the concern that the model for this bill is not followed in any other country. But the Vice Minister of Education said that it is followed in Portugal and that it is suitable for the economic and social conditions of Albania. The city of Tirana has begun one of its most important and necessary projects, the improvement of the city lighting. It has been announced that 780 street lights will be replaced, and the engineers are saying that the quality of the replacements are twice as high. The project expects a reduction of energy costs for the lighting by 60%, or approximately $1 million per year. One of the first areas affected by the project is the entrance of Tirana, which has already received an upgrade. The entrance to the capital now has better lighting than ever before, giving it a whole new look. A number of the main streets of the capital have been finished as well. The lighting project is just one of several upgrades that are coming to the city of Tirana in the city's plans for a major transformation. The changeover of Albania's mayors and local governments are not having a positive effect on the Albanian tourism so far this summer. The Albanian Association of Tourism says that there are water and energy problems throughout many of the coastal areas, and that the local government has been almost non-existent, taking no action to correct the issues. The head of the Touristic Association had this to say: "This is not a favorable situation. After the elections, a good part of the local government is practically non-existent. Some villages in the south have no water and are full of garbage." According to him, Albania's tourism industry is still suffering from the same unresolved problems that it had a year ago. He went on, "Nearly 80% of the hotels have 20 rooms or fewer. There are only a few hotels that have larger capacities, and this is one of the main problems. The prices are more or less the same. Albania has not changed." The good news is that the Greek crisis does not seem to be damaging Albanian tourism. According to the Touristic Association, there are still many tourists coming from the neighboring country. The association is requesting a new law on tourism that would establish higher standards in the industry. That concludes our news for this evening. Thank you for joining us. Please be with us again tomorrow at the same time for more translated news in English. Thanks, and have a great evening.